Hey guys, Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under, here for another video. Behind me here is the old F model, the 1980 model, the one that I nicknamed Bob because a bloke called Bob Bagley owned it from new. Anyway, it's been a little while between drinks here, but just about got it right to start. Well, in theory anyway. So, a couple of earlier videos you saw me, well hopefully you saw me pull the cool power box apart, look at the tip turbine fan, clean that piping out through there. We checked the rack on the fuel pump, fitted a turbo, fitted a lift pump. Since then I've done a couple of other little things. The truck might look a bit different now you remember it. I've taken the fuel tanks off it. I'm just going to change those over, but just for the purpose of this video and just for the startup itself, I've got it running out of a jerry can. Got the fuel suction and return coming out of that jerry can, or going back into that jerry can. So I replaced the fuel filters. I've just checked the oil and there was no water in the bottom of it, just topped it up slightly, just put water in the cooling system and topped up power steering oil. Now the gearbox had a bit of water and muck in it, so I've just cleaned it out as best as I could without disassembling it. And I cleaned it out with some Kero, put a couple of lots of oil through there and drained all the crud out of it, and I've just got some fresh 80/90 in there at the moment. I've just found a selector lid and a stick and a couple other bits and pieces, and just got that up the top there, so it's in neutral at the moment. I've hooked up that air start valve, and you saw the video on that where I didn't put a kit in it, I just freed it up and just showed you briefly how it worked. So I've removed some of the air intake stuff, and there was an oil tank and a few things behind the cab there, so I've got rid of that stuff just to make it a bit easier to work on, because they are a bugger of a thing to work on, I hate to say it. So it's just, we let the dog see the rabbit there a little bit. So eventually what I'll do, and I'm not going to restore this truck, I'm just going to piece it together with all the genuine bits. I'll put another cool power type air cleaner on it, and I've got a couple of old cans, you know, the proper air cleaner cans, and I'll set all that gantry up properly. Bearing in mind this truck wasn't a cool power originally, it was a 237, and it looks to still have the original engine. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say the original engine, but the engine number is still a 675, which denotes a 237 Maxidine. But someone's put the cool power box and the tip turbine fan on it and made a 285-300 out of it. So, and the way the air cleaner was set up before was pretty ugly. Short wheelbase, and they've put a big hydraulic tank on the back of it, and a couple of air cleaners stacked on top of each other. It was practical and it did the job. Not knocking anyone for that, but yeah, just for a purist point of view, it was a bit ugly. So, but anyway, that's what people did in the day. Back in the day, they just put things together with what they had, and you know, just made it practical. It wasn't all about being a purist or being a rivet count or anything like that. So, but anyway, just for what I'm doing at the moment, it'll just start up with unfiltered air. A little bit won't hurt it. Probably won't be the worst air it's ever had in its life. So yeah, anyway, we're just about ready to start. Now I've already pumped some air up in it, and it looks to be holding all right. I've got a bit of fuel prime there. I don't know, I mean, if I knew a little bit of history on the engine, I'd nearly say it might start right up. The injectors haven't been out. Sorry, the injectors haven't been out of it, and the injector lines haven't been disconnected. We've got fuel pressure in the pump, and you never know, it might just go. It might take a few goes to get the fuel up like the old R600 did over there. So what I'm going to do, because there's only one of me and I don't want to be up in the cab you know, flicking solenoids and things like that while the engine's trying to fire up, and you know, if I have to choke it or do anything like that, so what I'm going to do, I've just got an air blower and I've got it hooked up to me compressor, and I'm gonna put it in the signal end of that relay valve on the starter. I did show you that. What I might do is just quickly talk you through that. Just disconnect this camera off here for a minute. Bear with me. Make sure we're recording too, that's probably the main thing. A little bit hard there looking into the sun. We've got a nice day here, but it's bloody windy, it's just a bit ordinary. So what I'm going to do here is I've just turned that fitting around. So by me putting an air blower into there, that's just going to be the same as pressing the solenoid up in the cab. So the green line goes up to the cab, to the solenoid, and when you press the button or flick the switch or whatever up there, it comes back down through that white one into there and works that relay valve. Right? So I've just got an air blower here, and I'm going to just control it externally like that. So because I've got a bit of length in the air blower, it'll allow me to just come up here and work that accelerator linkage. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it works. I do have a trusty block of wood here to put over that air intake just in case we do have to shut it down in a hurry. But the rack's free, it should be pretty right. I've been wrong before and I'm always a bit nervous, as you've seen in the videos, but anyway, see how we go. But you can see just roughly the remote, I suppose you'd call it there, shift remote, and the stick that all just came off other trucks here. Sorry, there's the stick there. So yeah, it's on there now. It's in neutral, there's no air hooked up to the gearbox. That's the other thing. We'll get it, if it does start, we'll get a few air leaks and the compressor might be chuffing and carrying on a little bit, but again, it's only going to be running for a short period of time. We just want to see if it runs. If it runs okay, well, at a later date we might sort of start fixing up the air system in it and just get it so it's drivable. But obviously that's a long way off and not for today. So anyway, I'm going to go and put this camera back and give it back to the cameraman. He's staying pretty still, which is good of him. Just bear with me, this won't hurt a bit. Rightio, we're still going. The main thing. So yeah, with that in mind, let's give it a go. So I do have an oil pressure gauge hooked up, it's up in the cab, so that's just something I'm going to jump up the ladder here and have a bit of a look at. But anyway, we'll see what we'll do. As Tom Clark, the little cousin, said, something that I do say a little bit in these videos apparently is, we'll just see what it wants to do. So this one's for you, Tom. We'll see what it wants to do. So we've got fuel pressure there. We're in neutral. There's a drive shaft in it anyway. What else if we put that air thing on? I think I did have that off so I could clear it. Anyway, it's cleared. it was something I intended to do, but not that way. There was going to be a lot more controlled and measured than that. Well, I suppose that proved one point. Like I say, I did plan to do that, but certainly not that way. Yeah, I just wanted to blow that airline out. It wasn't going to be in the startup video, but anyway, it's clear, because that did have a few wasps' nests and stuff like that in it. So anyway, that's clear. We should be right to go now. We've got a stuck starter motor, so that's not much good either. Oh, well, she's not going to work today, bugger. So yeah, starter's not thrown in, as you can hear there, which is a bit disappointing. So anyway, yeah, I'll probably give this video a bit of a pause for now, and I'll pull that starter apart and just whether the Bendix is crook in it, whether it's just stuck on the threads and it's not throwing in. I'm not really sure, but I did put diesel down it so that the vanes are spinning, but and it does sound like they're spinning, so maybe it's got a snapped or just a damaged drive in it. So anyway, a bit disappointing. I thought we might get smoke out of it this morning. Anyway, yeah, better pull this starter apart and we'll have another crack when it's back together, and yeah, should be able to get it going then. Thanks, guys. So I pulled the starter motor apart. Can't really see a lot wrong with it, other than it's just really, really worn out in the barrel and the vanes. The Bendix looks okay, the drive looks okay. So I tried it back on the truck once and it didn't work, just after lubing it all up and all the rest of it. So I've got another starter motor off another truck and we're going to give that a go. I haven't got a lot of light left, so I've just filled the air tank up. I've got the new starter motor on there. I've put a bit of grease on the drive and a little bit of diesel down the guts of it. So hopefully it'll spin the motor over. I mean, yeah, it was in the other old blue Slimline up there, the single drive one, 63 model. So I know it works. It was hanging in a little bit on the starter on that truck up there, but that's the valve, not the starter itself. So anyway, I'll get around there with the air blower and put a shot of air up the relay valve and see what it wants to do, I suppose. Yeah, nothing's changed from before, other than the sun's in the wrong direction, and yeah, we're probably running out of light. So I'll stop stuffing around and we'll get into it, eh? A little bit of fuel prime there. Everything else is still right. Still in neutral, it hasn't driven anywhere. Well, you know, moment of truth. Give me air bar first, eh? Well, turns the motor over. So one thing I didn't think I did there, I did crack the injector lines before, but I've got fuel out of all the top of them, so I'll lock them up, and then we'll probably have to give it another charge of air, I think. I don't think it'll quite be enough to start it there, but we'll give it a go. Injector lines are still tight on the injector end, so I'll give it a try now. I've locked up the fuel pump. It had fuel coming out of all 6 spouts, so that's a pretty good start. Anyway, wish me luck. Just make a bit of noise here while the compressor fires up and pump it back up again, and then I'll shut him off. So I don't really know how long I'll go for tonight. I'll certainly give it this try, see if it starts, maybe one more. But if I've got to bleed the injectors up here, I'll probably leave it till the morning. But anyway, you never know, it might fire up. Just a little bit worried about losing some light and just the quality of the camera. You know, the quality of the picture turning to shit a little bit. So anyway, wait till this builds up and I'll shut that noisy thing up. I think we're still recording there, so let's hope so. Well, that's a bit of success there. Looks like we got a little bit of shit out of that exhaust too. Just got a fitting here that looks a bit loose on this turbo feed. It's making a bit of a mess. Wonder what else was left loose. Probably a bloody main bearing cap or something. Here's the problem with starting a job and then having to finish it off bloody 6 months later or whatever it is. So. Right, so it had oil pressure. Wasn't astounding, but it was 40 or 50 psi. Nothing falling off it or, you know, looking too drastic at this stage. So I'll see if it's got enough air to fire up again. It should do. Sort of cleared its throat a little bit then. And yeah, if we can get it running and make sure that oil leak stopped that I just hopefully fixed. Yeah, I'll just go for a bit of a walk around with the camera and yeah, let you see it up close and see the oil pressure gauge come up and all those things. So yeah, we'll have another crack.